From zero to legendary coach. Dai Li's journey to sports mastery. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 21, Start Your Own Training Class. Zhao Shouren in the training department of the sports school is indeed Zhao Shouliang's brother. The so-called tiger brother, the younger brother makes people bully. When the brother naturally wants to help the younger to single out, even if Zhao Shouliang was looking for embarrassment, Zhao Shouren also, I don't think my brother is the wrong party. Zhao Shouren used his power to fire Li Dai directly. Although he deliberately retaliated by abusing his power, Zhao Shouren was a person who hoped to be promoted to vice president. After expelling a probationary contractor, no one would object, and no one would care about a temporary worker's stay, so this thing is like throwing a stone into the sea, not even a spray. The most depressed person was naturally Li Dai. The job he finally got was lost inexplicably, and was disgusted by Zhao Shouren. But Li Dai was helpless about this. Since the ancient people did not fight against the officials, Li Dai was powerless, and there was no way to take Zhao Shouren. Li Dai was depressed for a whole night before adjusting his mentality, but then Li Dai had to re-enter the army to find a job. There was no job fair recently, and Li Dai did not run around. Early the next morning, he found an internet cafe and was about to try his luck by casting a few resumes from the internet. Li Dai opened his email and was preparing to send an email to the recruiting unit, but he saw that the dozens of sent letters in the outbox were lying there steadily. It was Li Dai who was in sports school these days. Results of the work. The work of the past few days is considered to be in vain. Li Daichang sighed, and he subconsciously scanned these sent emails. There is an enrollment guide, a student form, and contact information for students who sign up for the summer training class. Suddenly, Li Dai's eyes lit up, and a bold thought flashed in his mind. Since I have the contact information of the parents of the students here, why can't I run a training class myself? The 36,000 yuan I earned a few days ago, I didn't have a penny to spend, and the money may really be enough for me to do a summer training class. Li Dai began to calculate silently. Training a training class, the main cost has three parts. The first part is the cost of enrollment, the second part is the cost of renting a training venue, and the third part is the cost of training equipment. The recruitment cost can be neglected for Li Dai, because there are many contact information of the parents of the students in the email. These are actually the students of the summer training class of the sports school. But now, Li Dai does not mind robbing students from the sports school, and even Li Dai still has some expectations. The rental training site is a big head. Li Dai checked on the rental website. In the fourth-tier city of Yuzhou, the price of renting a venue is not too high. The cheaper is the idle steel factory building in the suburbs. For the rent of rice, 1 month's rent per square meter costs 1 yuan, and the frame concrete structure of the factory is twice as expensive. In the urban area, the rent price must be increased. As for training equipment, in addition to online shopping, it can also be obtained from some schools through renting. Anyway, the school is also on summer vacation at this time, and the students do need training equipment, and give the storage warehouse clerk some benefit fees, maybe they can get the training equipment. In this way, the money in my hand really can hold a training class. Li Dai gradually raised an impulse in his heart, then he focused his attention on the list of students in the 100-meter sprint training class. The students of this 100-meter sprint training class are all high school students. I remember that high school will not be on vacation until next week. The 100-meter sprint training class will not start until after the holiday. I still have time to give students from the sports school. Dig over. One student in the sports school will charge 15,000 yuan. At this price, if I can accept 2 students, I should be able to pay back the cost. If I take 3 students, I will make a profit. Li Dai thought of this and immediately took that a list of students in the 100-meter sprint training class was uploaded to their mobile phones. Then, Li Dai carefully visited the rental website, and finally found a few suitable places on the rental website, and wrote down the contact information of the landlord or agent. The next time, Li Dai began to look around the venue, and finally Li Dai took a fancy to a logistics warehouse. This warehouse has a total area of 3,000 square meters, and has windows on all 4 sides. Considering that the next training is in summer, it is definitely more appropriate to train indoors than outdoors. If you stay in the sun for training during the sun, it is easy to get heat stroke, and you will get sunburned. In July and August, it is still the rainy season. Once it rains, outdoor training is not sustainable. The maximum length inside the warehouse is less than 100 meters, but there is a flat and straight road outside the warehouse, with a length of more than 200 meters, which can be used as a complete 100-meter runway. This warehouse requires 10,000 yuan a month for rent, but because I don't know how many students can be recruited in the end, Li Dai did not immediately pay the rent, but first gave the landlord a deposit of 1,000 yuan and signed an intention contract. Li Dai pondered that if he could recruit students, he would rent for 2 months. If he could not recruit students, 1,000 yuan would be thrown to the landlord as a penalty. This loss is within the acceptable range of Li Dai. Fix the venue, Li Dai can start the next plan, which is to grab the students from the sports school. Consecutively called 3 parents, and Li Dai got only 3 rejected answers. As soon as parents heard that Li Dai was his single-handed training teacher, none of them was willing to send their children over. For this result, Li Dai feels a bit frustrated but does not feel surprised. The so-called backing against the big tree is a good way to cool off. How can Li Dai, a coach who has no reputation and has gone out on his own, can be comparable to a public school like a sports school? Behemoth, as long as the parents are still awake, they will not give up sports school and choose Li Dai. It seems that the strategy has to be changed. Li Dai frowned and thought. Otherwise reduce the price? Li Dai shook his head with care. No, if you take the initiative to reduce the price, it will make people think that my training level is limited. It is not as good as the sports school. People are even more reluctant to come. After all, 1 point the money will be sold. 10 minutes, Li Dai finally came up with a very impressive new plan. Novel.me, he dialed a new phone number. The national second-class athlete's standard of attainment is 11 seconds 50 by hand. You sent your child to me for training. If he fails to achieve this result during the test in September, I will refund all tuition fees to you. Li Dai said into the microphone. If you fail to meet the standard, you will be refunded. This is a big trick Li Dai came up with. Generally, training courses are not dare to make such a commitment, because the trainees are an unknown factor. Maybe some students are not talented enough, maybe some students are not working hard enough, or maybe both of them, which will cause the student's achievements to not reach the standard. A student who does not meet the standard also spends the time and energy of the coach and also uses the resources of the training class. What's more, 2 months of training to get an ordinary person to reach the level of a national second-class athlete is a very difficult thing in itself. So no one dared to promise to refund the fee if it didn't meet the standard, as if no hospital would say that if the disease is not cured, the money will be refunded to the patient, because there are too many uncontrollable factors. Unlike the grocery market to buy things, tomatoes are new not fresh, the cucumber is not big enough, at a glance. The training fee of 15,000 yuan is not a small amount. If the working class family has to save for a long time, the parents on the other side of the phone hear this promise of refund without paying the standard, and they are obviously excited. Li Dai felt the hesitation of this parent. He knew he was half successful. Now he needs to continue to increase his chips. He only listened to Li Dai and said, at the weekend, I will organize a free trial for 1 day here. The children come over and try the training effect in person. If you feel that you are not satisfied with the training effect here, you can continue to go to the 100-meter sprint training class in the sports school. This day's training is given to you in vain. No. Episode 22, Free Trial. Free trial training is the second big trick Li Dai came up with, because the word free has great appeal to anyone. Free things, regardless of value, as long as you don't need money, someone will rush to ask for it. Some millionaires, even those with tens of millions of assets, will also be happy to receive a free Chinese cabbage at the entrance of the supermarket. Are they really missing that Chinese cabbage? Obviously not. What delighted them was the thrill of finding cheap goods. Scammers can succeed many times, using people's greed and people's psychology of wanting to pick up cheap. Those who sell health products to the elderly will also be under the banner of free health seminars. Although Li Dai is not a fraudster and does not sell health products, he uses the same kind of psychology. 1 day of free trial training, it is equivalent to a day of training. As for whether you will stay with Li Dai in the future, it does not really matter. The key is that there is cheap to account for. The parents of the students did not intend to train here at Li Dai, but for the good thing of 2 days of free training, there will definitely be many people who will send their children to taste the free taste. However, Li Dai is confident. As long as the parents send the children over for training, he will be sure to keep the students. A black Land Rover SUV came slowly from a distance. Li Dai looked at a luxury car. He said that he was a rich owner, and immediately greeted him. A pair of father and son came down from the car. The height of his father was 1 meter 7 or 5, but he was very strong. The son was taller than his father and much thinner than his father. Hello, this is Li Dai. Li Dai introduced himself. You are Coach Li. The father pushed his son forward and said, this is my child, Lu Haiyang. Lu Haiyang, right. Li Dai took out a list of people, found Lu Haiyang's name, and drew a check in the back. Coach Li, my son will give it to you. Ocean, follow Coach Li to practice well, I will pick you up again in the afternoon. The father looked at Li Dai. He probably thought that Li Dai was too young, and his eyes inevitably showed contempt. If it is not free training, Chen Haiyang's father will never leave Chen Haiyang here. Chen Haiyang's father was about to turn away, but Li Dai stopped him. This parent, please wait a moment. Li Dai said, took out an electronic timer from his pocket, handed it to Chen Haiyang's father, and said at the same time, let us give Chen Haiyang a 100-meter test first. I'll order it later. Come time, test as soon as you arrive? Chen Haiyang's father looked surprised. This is also to test the effect of my training. Test it on the spot, and test it again when you come to pick him up in the evening. A comparison of the two results can also explain how the tour is today. Li Dai said. What training effect can be produced in one day's training time? Parents feel that Li Dai is not reliable, but he still took the electronic timer and agreed to the test requirements. After doing some warm-up exercises, Chen Haiyang came to the starting line. The so-called starting line was drawn by Li Dai yesterday, as well as several 100-meter runways. Li Dai took out the newly purchased starting gun, shouted preparation, and then pulled the trigger. Chen Haiyang immediately started and rushed to the end with the fastest speed. The moment Chen Haiyang crossed the finish line, Chen Haiyang's father also did not hesitate to press the electronic timer. How are your grades? Li Dai asked. 13 seconds, 03. It is 13 seconds. Chen Haiyang's father replied. A very good result. Li Dai nodded with satisfaction and recorded Chen Haiyang's results. At the level of ordinary high school students, if a 100-meter sprint can run within 11 seconds, it can definitely be called a genius in a 100-meter sprint. If it can run within 12 seconds, it can be regarded as a very outstanding ability, definitely a professional athlete. Talent, if you run within 13 seconds, you can be considered to be very strong, and you may be able to improve it greatly after professional training. If you run for 14 seconds, it is a more general result, which can basically be regarded as no sports talent. If it is 14 seconds away, then it should really increase physical exercise. Of course, the premise of judging these data is that there is no long-term professional training. After a long period of professional training, high school students run within 12 seconds to be considered normal data. According to this judging standard, Zhao Haiyang can run a score of 13 seconds 03, which is considered to be a strong physical quality among high school students. Considering that Zhao Haiyang only wears a pair of ordinary sports shoes, not wearing professional running shoes, sprinting the technical action is also ignorant. Yu reading www.yuyukangsha.com 13 seconds is a very good result. Li Dai is confident that within 2 months, he will reach the level of a national second-level athlete. Next, for every student who came to the trial training, Li Dai first conducted a test, and the results of the test also satisfied Li Dai. All the students' results were around 13 seconds. In fact, the two trainings make it easy for an ordinary person to reach the level of a national second-level athlete. If the physical talent is not enough, let alone 2 months, even 2 years, it may not be able to become the national second-level athlete. The sports school has also considered this when recruiting students. Those students who have no talents are directly filtered out. The students recruited are those who have a certain talent. Only such students with sports talents are likely to be in 2 months of training. It reached the level of a national second-level athlete. Parents of students are not fools. After all, it takes 15,000 yuan to participate in this training class. If the child is a kind of person who is not good at sports, he does not expect to be a national second-level athlete within 2 months. 15,000 is a waste of money. It's cost-effective to report to several college entrance examinations. Therefore, all parents who dare to send their children are also very confident, and their children are more or less athletic. Looking at the students in a row, Li Dai counted the number. There are only 13 students in total, which is less than I expected. I am still not famous. Even the free trial training does not attract many students. I hope that after the trial training, these 13 people can leave some more. Come on, Li Dai. Li Dai prayed silently in his heart, and then added these 13 students to the training list. Then he raised his head, stabilized his mind, and said, Students, we are training now. Episode 23, The Role of Explosive Aura. Although the 100-meter sprint is the simplest track and field event, there are many techniques in careful study, but most of the 100-meter sprint techniques are used by professional athletes. For beginners, they only need to master some of the most basic. The technology is enough. The main energy of the beginner should still focus on enhancing explosive power and improving personal speed. There are many training methods for enhancing the explosive power of the lower limbs, but the core is nothing more than weight-bearing and increasing resistance, such as weight-bearing jumping, weight-bearing squats, pulling people, pulling tires, etc. As for speed training, it is nothing more than repeated runs. In order to avoid the impact of speed obstacles, you can also use the competition training method for regular speed training, so that there is a comparison between athletes, which can stimulate the athlete's maximum speed. Training equipment, Li Dai has already bought. For example, a weight-bearing sandbag that is tied to the leg. If you buy it online, you can buy a set of $30 or $40, and it is also free shipping. Li Dai went to the sporting goods mall and bought 10 sets at a wholesale price, which is cheaper than buying from e-commerce. Then Li Dai bought some used tires from the second-hand auto parts city. Hanging a rope can be used for resistance training. These are not worth a few dollars. Sports training is originally Li Dai's specialty, so naturally training is indispensable to Li Dai. In this regard, Li Dai's experience may not be as good as those of professional coaches, but the training methods are not inferior to others. Lunch break, Li Dai fiddled with a set of legging sandbags. The sandbags for leggings are much better than the ones I used when I was a kid. I remember that the sandbags were really filled with sand. The sand easily leaked out of the cracks. If it fell into the shoes, it would be very abrasive. Now the leggings and the sandbags, small steel and lead bars are used, and the material is more comfortable than before. Li Dai arranged a row of leggings neatly, and then looked at the experience value he got. Although there are only 13 students, Li Dai gained the experience of 1,800 hours through this morning, which is the same as the experience of training 36 students in the previous sports entrance examination counseling class. With so many experience points, in the same period of time, there are only 13 students, but the effect is similar to the previous 36 students, which is equivalent to 3 times the experience. Li Dai was surprised, but also felt a little bit happy. The system's voice immediately explained, "I told you a long time ago that different training targets have different experience points. The group of small fat men you trained before are not even as good as 5 slags in sports. So you will have very little experience, but now the high school students you train are strong avatars among their peers, and the experience points you gain will naturally increase. As a result, if there is really a world-class athlete to let me train, wouldn't my experience fly up?" Li Dai has secretly made up his mind that if there is a chance, he must be a professional athlete as a coach, be a real coach. Li Dai took out the list of trainees. Everyone's athletic ability value has been detected by Li Dai. The athletic ability value of everyone is above 65, and the highest one has reached 71. This is for 16, 7-year-old sophomores are already a very high number. You should know that Li Dai's athletic ability is only 80, but Li Dai is at the pinnacle of his youth, and because of his professional needs, Li Dai usually does more physical exercise. The main energy of high school life is definitely, it should be put on study, not much time is spent on sports. In the afternoon, Li Dai again detected the students, but all the sports ability values remained the same without any improvement, but Li Dai was not disappointed. The higher the sports ability value, the more difficult it is to improve. This is what Li Dai has already discovered. I used to train some teenagers with ability value 20, so the progress is very obvious, but now I want to train young people with ability value above 60, the progress rate is much slower. Li Dai secretly said. It's not just that. The voice of the golden avatar sounded, and then said, "At that time you had the experience card of a first-class coach, you can enjoy the training effect of the first-class coach, and now you are just a third-rate coach, first-class coach and third-rate coach, there is a huge gap in training effect, upgrade, it's still faster to upgrade." Li Dai sighed silently, once again focusing on the training ground. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, although the sun was still hanging high, the sun was still dazzling, and the heat was still rolling in the air, but it was almost time for school. After a day of training, all the students were exhausted until novel.me, so Li Dai bought a dozen ice creams out of his own pocket, each one sent one, and everyone sat together and began to rest. After a hard day's training, everyone is in a state of fatigue. At this time, sitting on the ground and blowing hair, holding a bottle of sweet mineral water in his hand, there is an ice cream in his mouth, no matter what taste, but it is definitely a very pleasant thing. Li Dai let them rest for a while to recover some physical strength. While he was sitting by the door, looking at the end of the road, he was waiting. Soon after, a black Land Rover SUV appeared in Li Dai's sight. "Here is Chen Haiyang's father." Li Dai turned his head and asked, "Chen Haiyang, how is the physical recovery?" "It's okay, but the legs are slightly sour." Chen Haiyang replied. "Slightly warm up and prepare for the 100-meter test. Let your dad look at your training results today," Li Dai said. Chen Haiyang's father parked the car, opened the door, and walked down. Li Dai also came over at this time. I saw that Li Dai took out the electronic timer again, and then delivered it to Chen Haiyang's father, and said, "It's a coincidence that you are here. I'm about to test Chen Haiyang. I'll trouble you to give it a second time. It's just for you to take a look at the effect of my training today." Chen Haiyang's dad had been thinking about it and then his son would leave, but Li Dai said that he still took over the electronic timer. After all, his son was training here for a day, and he, a dad, wanted to know how it worked. When Chen Haiyang was tested in the morning, Li Dai was not included in the system's training list, but now Chen Haiyang has been added to the training list by Li Dai, which also means that Chen Haiyang began to enjoy the role of explosive aura. Episode 24, Substantial Improvement. Explosive force is self-evident for the 100-meter sprint. Although Li Dai's explosive power aura can only increase the explosive power by 10%, for a sport that can be completed within the limit of 10 seconds, the increased explosive power of 10% can already be regarded as an astronomical figure. The explosive aura is a trick for Li Dai to retain students. It is precisely because of this explosive aura that Li Dai will give the students a test before the training starts in the morning, and then record the results at that time, do it after the evening training 1 test, record the results. Comparing the results of the morning and evening with each other, you can show the results of Li Dai's one-day training. Although Li Dai does not know how much of this 10% explosive power increase will ultimately result in improved speed, Li Dai can be sure that the improved performance brought by the explosive aura can be very obvious on the electronic timer. Come out. However, Chen Haiyang's father did not have much hope, because he knew that sports training was originally the accumulation of time. There was no shortcut on this point, and it could not be a 1 or 2 day crash. It's okay to say a month. Now that I've trained for a daytime, what is the training effect? Therefore, it's just a day of training time. What effect can it produce? Can it be faster than half a second? This young coach probably wants to express himself too much, and wants to retain students too. Isn't he worried that after a day of training, he has consumed so much physical energy, maybe his performance will be lower than that in the morning? Chen Haiyang's father secretly said. Training will consume a lot of physical strength, but the results will not be as good as when you are full of energy. Of course, Li Dai can think of it, so Li Dai let the students take a half-hour rest. For high-level professional athletes, a half-hour break is definitely not enough, but for beginners, a half-hour break is enough for them to save a 100-meter sprint. At this time, Chen Haiyang once again stood at the starting line, and Chen Haiyang's father also stood at the end again, holding the stopwatch. Li Dai pulled the trigger of the starting gun, Chen Haiyang burst out, and quickly began to speed up. How do I think the speed seems to be faster? Running Chen Haiyang can feel it, the speed is faster than in the morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no timer in the hand of Li Dai in the distance. He counts silently in his heart. At this time, he also feels a little nervous. He is worried that Chen Haiyang's results are not satisfactory. In that case, this student will not be able to stay out of 10. Shoot. Chen Haiyang's father only felt that a figure was passing by in front of his eyes. He immediately pressed the pause button on the electronic timer. I don't know how the ocean is doing this time. Chen Haiyang's father still looked forward to his son. He looked at the electronic timer in his hand and his expression suddenly solidified. How is this possible? At 12 seconds 39, am I wrong? Chen Haiyang's father blinked vigorously and looked carefully. The digital timer showed 12 seconds 39 indeed. When my son did the test before, he didn't run within 12 seconds and 80 at the fastest, but now he ran for 12 seconds and 39, more than half a second faster than the morning. Did I press it earlier? Chen Haiyang's dad recalled carefully and confirmed that he didn't make it early. Is it because this electronic timer is broken? Nor is it possible that if the timer is broken, it will only slow down, not fast. Chen Haiyang's father raised his head and looked at his son. Inside, he said, is this the progress he made in training today? At this time, Li Dai had walked over quickly, and he only asked him, how are your results? 12 seconds 39. Chen Haiyang's father replied honestly. There was a sense of disbelief in the words. I remember in the morning, Chen Haiyang's score was 13 seconds 03, an improvement of 0.64 seconds. The effect of training today is very good. Although such a large improvement is the effect of explosive aura, Li Dai did not hesitate to change. He took credit for it, and then he continued, I remember that the national standard for the third-level athletes was 12 seconds and 40 seconds by hand. Now Chen Haiyang has exceeded this data. If you take the test now, you can also get a National 3. Athlete S certificate. National Tier 3 athletes' qualifications basically have no effect. At most it is a kind of affirmation of personal ability, but for ordinary beginners, National Tier 3 athletes are also a very encouraging result. Chen Haiyang's father hesitated for a few seconds, then suddenly said, Coach Li, I want to let the ocean test again, do you think it works? Li Dai took a slight look. He knew that Chen Haiyang's dad didn't believe this result, and thought it was a coincidence, so he made this kind of request, and Li Dai would not refuse to accept it. He said, no problem, but still, let Chen Haiyang rest for 10 minutes first. Continuous testing is also prone to strain the lines. I've done some other students' tests first. Li Dai looked at the form in his hand and shouted at the training ground, Su Qing Liang, do a warm-up exercise, prepare for the test. Su Qing Liang came alone in the morning, and no parents came to pick up after school in the afternoon, so Li Dai could only ask him to do the test himself, and then tell his parents the results after going back. Su Qingliang's figure crossed from the finish line. Li Dai pressed the electronic timer. He glanced at the number above and said, 12 seconds 42, good results. Your morning score is 12 seconds 10. Today's training, you have improved by 0.68 seconds. Don't forget to tell your parents about your progress today. Next, Li Dai turned around and called the name of another classmate, Lu Tsongyan, it's your turn. Chen Haiyang took a break for more than 10 minutes. Yu read books, www.yukangshu. Com then stood on the starting line again. Everyone, prepare. Li Dai raised the starting gun, and with the sound of the gun, Chen Haiyang once again ran out of the starting line. In the second test, Chen Haiyang's mentality was also relaxed a lot, and his condition was better than before, but there was only a dozen minutes away from the first test, and Chen Haiyang's physical strength had not fully recovered, so a score of 12 seconds and 51 was ran, which was 0.12 seconds slower than the first test. Although the speed was slower than the first time, this still surprised Chen Haiyang's father, who ran out of unexpected results twice in a row. Chen Haiyang's father had to believe that Chen Haiyang really made a big difference improvement. I can improve my results so much in one day, this Coach Li is really a god. If I didn't see it in person, if I didn't come to count in person, I definitely don't believe it. Chen Haiyang's father's look at Li Dai has become different. A dozen minutes ago, he also felt that Li Dai was making a fuss, but now he knows that the Coach Li in front of him is really capable. I think even coaches in sports schools do not have such a good level of training. The effect of this training is simply against the sky. No wonder this Coach Li dared to promise to refund if he fails to meet the standard. It turns out that there are really two brushes, maybe really it's time to hand over the child to this Coach Li. Chen Haiyang's father thought of this and had already made a decision in his heart. Li Dai waited for the last student to leave, packed his things, and then locked the warehouse door. I don't know these 13 students, I will leave a few at last. Li Dai looked at the straight road in front of her, and was unavoidably confused. After going back, call and confirm with these parents. Li Dai said to herself. Episode 25, Start Class. Li Dai called 5 parents in a row. 3 parents expressed their willingness to participate in Li Dai's training class, and the other 2 said they would consider it. And Li Dai has heard from their tone that the so-called consideration is just a way of euphemistic rejection. 3 of the 5 people are willing to come, more than half. I have calculated before, as long as they can recruit 2 students, they can protect the capital. Now that they can come to 3 students, I can already make money for 1 student. Loss. Li Dai's mood suddenly relaxed a lot. He picked up the list of students, ready to dial the next phone number. Wu Yukai, in this afternoon's test, he ran a score of 12 seconds and 11 and was the best among all students. At that time, when his father came to pick him up, he personally timed it. I think Wu Youtsai's parents should treat me, the training is more satisfying. This Wu Yukai will also stay out of 10. Li Dai dialed the phone number of Wu Youtsai's house with hope. Wu Youtsai's house. Wife, this Coach Li really has 2 brushes. Today's 1 day of training has significantly improved our son's performance. Guess what our son's 100-meter performance is now? 12 seconds 11. It's almost close to 12 seconds, it's time to pass. I think it's better to give our son to Coach Li for training. 2 months later, we will definitely reach the standard of national second-level athletes. Wu Youtsai's father said with a happy face. 12 seconds 11? How is this possible? In the previous test at my son's school, did I only run 12 seconds 81? The kung fu of this day was 0.7 seconds faster? I don't believe it, don't be fooled by the coach named Li, Wu Youtsai's mother said. No, when I personally counted it, when my son went in the morning, our son ran at once, with a score of 12 seconds and 88. Before returning at night, I tested again, and the result was really 12 seconds 11. I was scared. A jump. Wu Youtsai's father continued. 12 seconds 11? That's only 0.61 seconds left for the national second-level athletes. Wu Youtsai's mother did not seem very happy, but frowned and began to think. Wife, I think this Coach Li is really capable, and there are not many students there, at best it is about 10. Absolutely small class teaching, the training quality may be better than the sports school. Anyway, it is the same. Let us send our son to him. Wu Yukai's father said. Are you stupid? Wu Youtsai's mother stared at her husband instead and said, the speed of progress is fast, because our son has good athleticism. Training under an unknown coach can make such great progress. If sent to the sports school and trained those professional coaches, would our son's progress be faster? So we had to send our son to the sports school and Coach Li to delay his son. When the school's training class started, I went to tell the coach of the sports school personally how great our son is, and we must let them focus on training, and our family can also be a world champion in the future. Wu Youtsai's father was about to rebut, but heard the sound of the phone ringing. He picked it up and the caller ID was the words, Coach Li. This Coach Li called, how should I reply to him? Wu Youcai's father asked. Wu Youcai's mother grabbed the phone and said at the same time, the phone is for me, I will refuse him. Li Dai did not expect that he would eat a closed-door soup with Wu Youcai's parents. The score of Wu Youcai's test in the morning is 12 seconds and 88, and in the afternoon test is 12 and 11. This is an improvement of 0.77 seconds. Why his parents are not satisfied? He even said that sending the child to me would delay him. Results, a day of training improved by 0.77 seconds, which is also called delaying the child. If you switch to other people to train, I am afraid that there is not even 0.1 seconds of progress. Furthermore, if there is no explosive halo of mine, Wu, is it possible to run a 12-second 11 result? Li Dai thought angrily. Then, he directly removed Wu Youcai from the training list. Forget it, don't want these angry things, and then call. Li Daiping recovered his mood and dialed the next call. Of the 13 students who participated in the trial training, the parents of 7 of them finally said that they would send their children to Li Dai, and 2 other parents were hesitant. The remaining 4 people had already determined that they would not come. 7 people, just over half, it's pretty good. 1 student charges 15,000 yuan, 7 students is 100,000, and if the cost is removed, I still have a profit of nearly 80,000 yuan. 2 months earn 80,000 yuan, it's really a profit to start a training class. Li Dai thought of the money. The previous frustration suddenly swept away, and he was full of energy again. After all, for a fresh graduate, earning 80,000 yuan in 2 months is indeed an unimaginable thing. Li Dai's luck is very good until novel.me. There is a hesitant parent who still chooses Li Dai, which means that Li Dai finally has 8 students, and he has joined the 8 Great King Kong. Almost at the same time, the 100-meter sprint training class of the sports school also began. 100-meter sprint training class is one of the most profitable training courses this year in the sports school. Naturally, it is highly valued. As the director of the training department, Zhao Shouren came to the school site in person. Zhao Shouren held a list of reporting students in his hand, frowning slightly, his dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes, and his mouth even said, the number of people is less than we had expected. The number of people reported is 7 or 8 people less than we estimated. The coach in charge next to him said. Zhao Shouren nodded his head and didn't go deep into the fact that the number of students was lower than expected. Anyway, the money earned by the training class was public money, and he couldn't take a penny into his pocket. I saw Zhao Shouren pointing to this list, and then asked, are there any good seedlings among these students? There are a few good seedlings, like this Wu Youcai, who has not received professional sports training, but he filled in the best result of 12 seconds 11 and it is said that he ran out last weekend. When he reported this morning, his mother still had come over in person and hoped that we can focus on training him. The coach next to him said. I can run for 12 seconds and 11 without professional sports training. It is indeed a good seedling. Although I am 17 years old this year and I am a little older, it is not too late to train now. I have been working hard for a few years and can still become a professional. Track and field athletes. Zhao Shouren nodded, then said, but we can't listen to the bias, it's the mules and the horses that come out to walk. We will have an opening test in a while to see how the students' real results are. Episode 26, Prototype. Wu Youcai stood in the team and felt quite proud of the heroes. On the runway in front, the opening test has begun. As the results of the first set of tests came out, Wu Youcai's face even showed a disdainful expression. The fastest one in this group actually ran 12 seconds 55, which is faster than me by half a second. The one who ran for 12 seconds 55, have you practiced before? It must have been practiced, otherwise how could it run so fast? Why can't I run so fast without practice? Wu Youcai's voice suddenly sounded, and everyone looked at him, but Wu Youcai looked like a blushing heart, and then said, I haven't practiced before, the fastest can run 12 seconds 11, 12 seconds 11. It's awesome. The people around were suddenly taken aback, and several others delusional Wu Youcai with an adoring gaze. For a group of high school students who usually focus mainly on their studies, a score of 12 seconds and 11 is enough to attract everyone's envy. A coach came over with the list and said aloud, student who remembers the name, go for a warm-up exercise and prepare to take the test. Li Yong, Wang Wei, Wu Youcai. Hearing that the coach read his name, Wu Youcai ran out immediately and walked toward the runway with confidence. In the stands not far away, a coach pointed at the runway and said, Director Zhao, that's Wu Youcai, who signed up for 12 seconds and 11 seconds. Okay, look at his worth is not worth our hard work. Director Zhao's order, the surrounding coaches also focused on the track and field. Wu Youcai is still full of confidence. He obviously feels that other people are not as fast as himself, and with the order of the starter, Wu Youcai is ready to start. The gun shot, Wu Yukai ran out with all his strength. The next second, he found that he was not the fastest person. What's the matter? Someone is running faster than me, and there is more than one person. I know, it must be that my speed has not been raised to the highest level. When my speed increases, I can definitely leave them behind. Wu Yukai clenched his teeth and used all his strength to start exerting force. However, all this was in vain. He was still lagging behind, and the gap was widening. Even the people behind him started to keep pace with him. How could this be? Is it true that my group is top students? Why is my luck so bad that it is in the same group as a group of top points? Wu Youcai's eyes flashed a beam of unwillingness. He didn't realize, without the explosive aura, he has already appeared. The time of 12 seconds was fleeting. Wu Yukai crossed the finish line. He was just about to get close to those who were faster than him, but they found that they all looked at themselves with a strange eye. How to look at me with this kind of vision? There is something on my face. Wu Yukai feels a bit strange, and at this time, the coach responsible for the finish line in time also reported everyone's results. Li Yong, 12 seconds, 97. Wang Wei, 12 seconds, 75. Wu Yukai. The coach deliberately took a long tone, glanced at Wu Yukai contemptuously, and then shouted loudly, 12 seconds, 83. What? 12 seconds, 83? How is it possible? How could I run so slow? I just ran 12 seconds 11 last weekend. Wu Yukai was dumbfounded. The scene suddenly sounded a strange laughter. That is a kind of mockery. How about 12 seconds and 11? Bragging and no drafting. The score of 12 seconds and 83 is far worse than mine, and I dare to brag that I can run 12 seconds and 11. Someone in the last group ran for 12 seconds and 55. Seeing his madness, I don't know how powerful he is. I didn't expect to be an empty square gun. I didn't have the ability to pretend to be forced. People's comments came into Wu Youcai's ears, and suddenly made his face extremely ugly. At this moment, shame, embarrassment, shame. Various negative emotions filled his heart. 12 seconds 11 and 12 seconds 83, although only a difference of 0.72 seconds, but in the 100-meter sprint project, 0.72 seconds can be described as the gap between heaven and earth. At the level of a 17-year-old high school student, running 12 seconds and 11 without training, although it cannot be said to be a sprint genius, but also represents a talent beyond ordinary people. Through training I hope to become a professional athlete, and 12 seconds 83 words it can only be regarded as a young man with excellent physical fitness. Perhaps the ultimate upper limit is that it is difficult to reach the level of professional athletes. In the stands, Zhao Shoren's face also showed a disdainful smile. I thought I was a good young man. I didn't expect to be a guy with a swollen face and fat. Bai Huan rejoices. This kind of student vanity is too strong and may not be willing to practice hard, so don't waste too much energy on him. Those good seedlings spend more time. Zhao Shoren's remarks are equivalent to determining the ending of Wu Yukai in the 100-meter sprint training class. Wu Yukai is not the only present student. In addition to Wu Yukai, 4 other students also encountered the same situation. They all enjoyed a day of free training in Li Dai's training class. Thanks to the aura, their achievements have made amazing progress within a day. However, from the moment when they chose the sports school, Li Dai removed them from the training list, and they could not continue to enjoy the explosive aura bonus, so these 5 students were all original in the sports school test. Bailu. Yu reading www.yuyukanshu.com. Li Dai didn't care about the 5 students who chose to leave. In Li Dai's view, he had done all his free training for one day, and his progress on this day was obvious, which is obvious to all. If this fails to retain the students, that only shows that the parents of the students have never considered sending their children to themselves. Since he is not his own student, Li Dai is not responsible for them. And for the 8 students who are willing to train with themselves, Li Dai is doing his best. One is to collect tuition from others. Naturally, it is necessary to teach it well. The second is because Li Dai had promised before. If it fails to meet the standard, it will be refunded. Li Dai has already put his pockets in his pockets for 15,000 tuition for everyone, so naturally he is not willing to take them out. Sports training is always a boring thing. The training process is originally to repeat the same thing constantly. This process makes it easy for athletes to feel depressed, which can cause boredom. Although in order to increase the interest of athletes to participate in training and mobilize their enthusiasm, training experts have come up with different training methods such as competition training method and game training method, which are also included in the textbooks. But sports training is not small after all. The coach is not the aunt of the kindergarten when the children are playing, and the boring nature of training cannot be compensated by any means. Li Dai has become accustomed to this kind of repetition, especially when Li Dai witnessed the continuous improvement of the students' level. he would feel that this kind of repetition is worthwhile. The training effect of the third-rate coach is still significantly higher than that of the sports school coach, and Li Dai's experience value is also growing. After more than a month, Li Dai finally saved enough 1,000 points of experience, ushering in again the upgrade from the primary stage of third-rate coaching to the intermediate stage of third-class coaching. Episode 27, Athlete Talent. Third-rate coach's intermediate stage, upgrade to the advanced stage requires 2,000 points of experience? So much. Li Dai kept complaining to the system. Okay, be content. When you reach the advanced stage of third-rate coaches, you will spend more experience when you upgrade to second-rate coaches. The golden avatar paused, and then said, let's look at your upgrade first. Reward. I don't know what reward this time will give me. Is it the halo again? Li Dai opened the upgrade reward box, but only saw a chip-like thing placed there, with a label next to it, which read Detective Tester Upgrade Kit. Detector Upgrade Kit? Used to upgrade the detector? Li Dai asked immediately. Yes, the Detector Upgrade Kit can upgrade your primary detector to an intermediate detector. The intermediate detector will increase the detection range by 10 meters. The system said. Following the instructions of the system, Li Dai completed the upgrade of the detector. He immediately returned to reality and used detection against Chen Haiyang. To test the effect of the intermediate detector, a line of text immediately appeared in Li Dai's in my mind. Detection target, amateur athletes, professional project, sprint 100 meters, professional ability, 7, professional talent, C+. It is different from the primary detector. It can detect professional items and talents. Can you explain to me what these mean? Li Dai asked directly. The detection objects are mainly divided into 3 levels: ordinary people, amateur athletes, and professional athletes. The detector will judge which level belongs to the actual situation. The former professional athletes will still be judged as professional athletes after retirement. Your trainee has been able to reach the level of amateur athletes after more than a month of training, so he was identified as an amateur athlete by the detector. The system said. Chen Haiyang has made rapid progress recently, and his results have always been among the best. At his current level, he should be able to barely reach the level of amateur athletes. But this 7-point professional ability is too low? Distance 100. There is still a great distance. Li Dai asked. Even if you have a professional ability of 100, it is only the bottom of professional athletes. Professional ability is calculated on a 1,000-point scale. Taking 100-meter sprint as an example, those players who can break the world record have a professional ability above 800. The system then said. 1,000-point system? Isn't that poor 7-point professional ability value a scum? Li Dai then asked. Of course it's a scum. Compared with ordinary people, the national second-level athletes run faster, but compared with real professional athletes, what is scum? The system said. What does this professional talent mean? Li Dai then asked. This professional talent refers to his talent in sprinting 100 meters, not his talent in all sports. Know that a person has different talents in different sports. For example, some people are good at playing basketball, some people are good at playing football, so professional talent is also determined separately. The system explained. How many levels are there on that day? ABCD? Li Dai then asked. Professional talents are divided into 5 major levels, S, A, B, C, and D from high to low. Each level is divided into 3 small levels, such as the C-level talent, which will be divided into detailed C+, C, and C-. The system explained. There are 5 large levels, that is, 15 small levels, and C+ can only be ranked 10th, which is not a very high talent. Li Dai said with some disappointment. Actually, C+ is already a relatively good talent. The talent is like a pyramid. The higher the talent, the fewer people. The physical talents of most people are only at the D level. Those who can have a C-level talent in a certain project. You have the ability to become a professional athlete in this project. If you have a B-level talent, if you work hard, you have the opportunity to win a national championship in this project. If you have a A-level talent, you have a good chance of becoming a project in the world champion. If it is an S-level talent, it will be possible to break the world record of a certain sport. As for the highest S+ talent, it means that this athlete will have a chance to rule an era. The system explained. S+ level talent is an athlete who rules an era. Li Dai's mind flashed the names of great athletes involuntarily. They must have the talent of S+. Then he remembered Chen Haiyang's C+ talent, and he could not help asking, as you say, a C-level talent has the ability to become a professional athlete. Does the C+ talent mean that among professional athletes, is it excellent? You can understand this way. Although the talents of C+ may not be able to win the national championship, as long as they are willing to train seriously, don't waste their talents, it is not difficult to get some results. The system explained. As said, this Chen Haiyang is still a good seedling. A good seedling cannot be wasted in my hands. I have to work harder on his training. Li Dai glanced at Chen Haiyang not far away. Immediately afterwards, novel.me, he also detected several other students. As a result, as the system informed, most of the academy's talents were D-level, except for Chen Haiyang, which reached C-level. The only talented student is Su Qingliang. His talent for the 100-meter dash is C. Although not as good as Chen Haiyang, he is also much stronger than others. Unexpectedly, I have 2 trainees here and have the opportunity to become professional athletes. Li Dai suddenly felt that a national second-level athlete might not be able to satisfy him. He hoped that his disciples could climb to a higher peak. In the blink of an eye, at the end of August, the students are about to start school, and the training class is about to end. It was at this time that a notice about the National Athlete Test was also posted on the website of the Sports Bureau. Tests for national athletes are generally sponsored by provincial administrative units, and the venue will also be located in the provincial capital city. Since last year, in order to reduce the burden of examinations for candidates, prefecture-level cities in the province allow the national-level athlete test to be held locally, but the staff responsible for the test is still stationed in the province. To put it simply, it means that people in the province and equipment and venues in the city. Yuzhou City Stadium has just been built for 3 years. The facilities are quite new and modern enough. It is more than enough to hold tests for national athletes, so this year, the national athlete tests in Yuzhou will be conducted in this city. This is obviously good news for candidates. Candidates in the urban area can reach the test room in a taxi. Candidates in counties and districts can also go back and forth that day, avoiding finding a hotel accommodation, which will save a lot of money. As soon as the test time was determined, for all the candidates, they had entered the sprint stage, and the time seemed to be tight. Li Dai also led 8 students and began the final sprint training. Episode 28, Enrollment quote, asked a lot, let me explain it. The free period of a work is called the public period. The number of words updated by famous authors during the public period will be limited. This is an industry rule. There are manuscripts here for customs clearance, but they can only erupt after the shelves. Readers who have chased almighty athletes should know that the update of the clearance is still very powerful. There are more than 10 or 20 episodes a day, so don't worry, brothers and sisters, it is normal to write a novel for 2 or 3 years. Let's grow longer. The following text, school, the principal's office, the expression of Principal Liu was a little serious. This is the 2nd year for President Liu to come to the sports school. As a new principal who came to the air, President Liu was not so comfortable at the beginning. During the past 2 years, he has been familiar with the stage and cultivated his own at the end of the class. It is a complete control of the entire sports school. Many people feel that there is no pressure to enter the sports school, so the work should be easier. However, over the past year or so, President Liu has clearly realized that being a principal in a sports school is not as easy as expected. The sports school used to be a very high school. Although the sports school was only a secondary school, until the 1990s, the students who graduated from the sports school were still assigned to work. In that era, the secondary school was far more than the high school. It is even more desirable. Teachers like technical secondary schools and health schools of secondary technical schools can only be admitted by students with excellent academic achievements. After graduation, they are all assigned jobs, and the students of sports schools are selected by excellent middle schools. In the era of insufficient protein supply, many people are still in the stage of being full, let alone talking about nutrition. In this case, those who can go to sports school are really some people with outstanding physical talents. Later, sports schools such as secondary schools began to be excluded from distribution, but it was still a popular choice. Sports school students have food subsidies. For people in poor areas, it is really a matter of being able to manage meals in school, unexpectedly good things. What's more, 20 years ago, colleges and universities did not expand enrollment. College students are rare, and ordinary people can find a decent job if they get a secondary school diploma. With the continuous expansion of colleges and universities, the threshold of universities is getting lower and lower, and the survival of sports schools has also become difficult. Many undergraduates and masters in the society can't find a job. A secondary school student in a sports school can only move bricks and sell hard labor. Parents all hope that their children can find a decent job. No one wants their children to become drudgery. Naturally, it is possible for them to get higher education. With the improvement of living standards, no one will go to the sports school for the meal allowance of 3 meals a day to catch up with their own future. At the same time, the shortcomings of the sports school as a technical secondary school are also manifesting. The technical secondary school is not a high school. The graduates of the technical secondary school cannot take the admission of the college entrance examination, and can only obtain the diploma through the self-study examination of higher education. Restricted to national recognition, in this age of college students, it is basically not helpful to find a job. For this reason, fewer and fewer people are enrolled in sports schools, and the student resources are getting worse. There are many good seedlings in sports. Although they are very talented, parents are not willing to send their children to sports schools. The so-called inferiority can only be achieved by studying at a high level. Parents think that even if they are absent from school for a whole day after going to university, they are better than going to physical education schools. Based on this situation, the living space of sports schools across the country is shrinking. Those famous sports schools that have trained top athletes may be better off and receive more financial allocations. The non-influential sports school, such as the Yuzhou Sports School, is almost in a state of receiving mixed salary and waiting to die. However, President Liu's new official took office, and he naturally would not choose to eat and die. He wanted to make a career, so he proposed a plan to cooperate with high school to develop sports specialty students. One can earn a training fee, and more importantly, it can establish the reputation of the sports school. In the office, Principal Liu held a document in his hand, which was the notice about the National Athlete Test. In front of Principal Liu, Zhao Shouren, who was the director of the training department, was sitting precariously, posing as if he listened carefully to the leadership training. Only listened to President Liu clearing his throat, and said, "The test of the national athlete is about to start, which is almost a routine workload for our sports school. But this year, your burden will be heavier. Not only the students of our school will take the test, but also the students enrolled in the 100-meter sprint training class in the summer, and will also participate in this test. Now how is the situation of the 100-meter sprint training class? How many people do you expect? Can I get a second-level athlete certificate? The 100-meter sprint training class is coming to an end. From our internal evaluation data, at least one-third of the students are able to meet the standards of national second-level athletes. In addition, some students' results are near the standard line. If you play better, you can pass the test of second-level athletes." Zhao Shouren said. "One-third is not enough. It is best if half of the students can meet the standard, so that our 100-meter sprint training class can be persuasive, so that the city's high schools can believe us and have the ability to train high-level sports specialty students. I was willing to hand over the students to us." President Liu paused, and then said, "In addition, I also heard an important message from the province. This time, the National Athlete Test, the master sent by the province, the examiner is Coach Chinhua Jin of the Provincial University of Physical Education, which is an unselfish figure." Coach Chinhua Jin? Is that Coach Chinhua Jin who brought out several national name athletes? He is the top track and field coach in our province. Zhao Shouren apparently heard the name of the other party. Yes, it's him. But more importantly, he brought 2 independent enrollment places in provincial sports universities this time. If he can be spotted by Coach Chinhua Jin in the athlete test, he is likely to get this independent enrollment place. President Liu said, "And you read the book www.yuyukansha.com. Then he said, "These 2 provinces' sports universities have independent enrollment quotas. Our school must get at least one. Do you mean to let the students of the 100-meter sprint training class strive for this place for independent admissions?" Zhao Shouren asked. "Yes, this is an important bargaining chip for our sports school. If we can get the quota of autonomous enrollment of the provincial sports university, it is enough to prove our training level, and we can also prove to the whole society that our sports school, although it is a technical secondary school, it is also able to train college students. If our high school knows that the students we have trained get the quota for independent enrollment, we will definitely cooperate more actively with our sports school," President Liu said. Zhao Shouren hesitated suddenly. He did not dare to hit this package ticket. Zhao Shouren didn't answer for a long time, making Headmaster Liu anxious. He turned his eyes and suddenly changed a topic. "Last semester, we had an old vice president retired. There is now a vacancy for the vice president in the school. I have asked my opinion about the candidates of the organization a few days ago. I think it is a very important aspect to promote leading cadres, but the more important thing is to look at the working ability and business level. Director Zhao, although I am very optimistic about you, but you have to work harder and make some achievements so that you can serve the crowd, and I have a more appropriate excuse to recommend you to the organization." Although Principal Liu did not say clearly, Zhao Shouren had already understood that whether he could get the quota for independent enrollment had already been related to whether he could be promoted to vice president smoothly. Thinking of this, Zhao Shouren immediately said, "The principal is assured, I will be responsible for the training of the 100-meter sprint training class in summer. This place for our independent enrollment, our school has decided." Episode 29, Level 2 Athlete Exam. Only those fresh senior high school graduates who can get the university's independent enrollment quotas. If they are not fresh senior high school graduates, even if their grades are outstanding, they are not eligible to participate in the university's independent admissions. The sports school is a technical secondary school, so the sports school's own students are definitely missed from college admissions. As for the top sports students in various high schools, when they reach the third grade, they must have already obtained the qualification certificates of the national second-level athletes. Otherwise, they will not be listed as high-tech sports students in high schools, so they will not participate in the national second-level athletes. Examination. In general, the freshman graduates who took part in this test were all temporary supporters. 89 of them were trained in this summer training class, and their strength will not be too strong. The sports school student source will be better than other training classes, and the training is more professional, and the chance of getting this independent enrollment quota is relatively large. Sports school has its own sources, but Li Dai does not. He did not know that there is a quota for independent enrollment in this national athlete test, but Chen Daijin's name, Li Dai, has long been heard. As one of the best track and field coaches in the province, Chen Yuejin has many disciples who have been selected for the national team. Even Chen Yuejin himself was once called up as a training coach for the national team. The day of the national athlete test has finally arrived, and Li Dai also ushered in the day of testing his training results. Early in the morning, Li Dai came to the gate of the city stadium, waited for meeting with 8 students, and then entered the examination room together. Chen Haiyang, you are in the 13th group, the position is relatively backward. Su Qingliang, you are in the 7th group. Lu Tsongyan, you are the 1st group, now go to do a warm-up exercise. It is your turn, immediately come on stage, don't be nervous, just do it as usual training. Anyway, your usual test scores have also reached the level of second-level athletes. Li Dai began to psychologically counsel his disciples to eliminate his tension. Among these 8 students, Lu Tsongyan was the first to play. His grades can only be regarded as medium, but after Li Dai's training, it should be no problem for the second-level athletes to reach the standard. What Li Dai is most worried about is that Lu Tsongyan is too nervous and will affect his state. If Lu Tsongyan fails to meet the standard, it will affect the performance of the next 7 students. Li Dai. A voice sounded from behind. Li Dai turned to look around and saw a familiar face. This man was called Sun Daibing. He was a colleague of Li Dai when he was in sports school. He became a sports school with Li Dai. As assistant coach, only Sun Daibing stayed smoothly, and Li Dai was expelled from work just because he offended Zhao Shouren. Brother Sun, you are here too. Li Dai walked over and greeted Sun Daibing. Li Dai, I haven't seen you in 2 months. It seems to be white. Where are you now? Sun Daibing asked. Where is there any? Hi. I made a training class myself and recruited a few students. Doesn't this bring students to the exam? Li Dai said. Great. Sun Daibing extended his thumb, it turns out to be my own boss. It's much better than our daily life in sports schools. Brother Sun, did you come with the sports school this time? Li Dai asked. I took the 100-meter sprint training class to participate in the test this time. The sports school attaches great importance to this athlete test. Director Zhao of the training department personally led the team. Sun Daibing said. Zhao Shouren is also here? Li Dai heard the name of the Chou family, but he did not recognize what Zhao Shouren looked like, so Li Dai asked softly, which is Zhao Shouren? Sun Daibing looked back and lowered his voice and said, the one wearing the light blue shirt over there is the one with the lower body and trousers. Most of the coaches on the scene are wearing looser sportswear. Zhao Shouren's formal dress is very conspicuous, and Li Dai recognized him at a glance. Zhao Shouren. I was expelled for no reason at all. Today, let's compare and see who has the best training students. Li Dai's eyes seemed to be blazing with flames, and his heart was full of fighting spirit. He looked up. His own student, when he saw Chen Haiyang and Su Qingliang, he couldn't wait to start the test as soon as possible. Chen Haiyang and Su Qingliang are 2 of Dai Li's killers. Since they learned that they have a sea-level talent in the 100-meter sprint, Li Dai's requirements for the 2 of them have become stricter. The 2 also lived up to Li Dai, and their level improved rapidly, far exceeding the other 6 students. The good thing about invigilating the exam, shouted the exam number. The first 8 candidates who took the exam went to the invigilating desk to register. Lu Tsongyan's luck was bad enough, and he was even divided into the first group. This first group is the most difficult to run. If it has not entered the state at the beginning, it will be on the stage, and if the first group is on the stage, everyone the focus is on here, the pressure will be greater. Come on, Lu Tsongyan. Li Dai is cheering for Lu Tsongyan silently, but a familiar face comes into Li Dai's sight. That's Wu Yukai. I was still training for a day with me until novel.me. His mother said that training with me would delay his future. I have to go to the sports school and I don't know how to practice in the sports school. I didn't expect him to appear in the first group. I remember that 2 months ago, his test score was much faster than Lu Tsongyan. Now it's time to make a comparison. Look at the training level of the sports school and my phase. Then, who is higher and who is lower? Li Dai looked at the runway with some expectation, and the first group of 8 candidates who had taken the exam had also stood on the starting line. Was sitting in the audience on the runway, Zhao Shouren was sitting right there, and a coach named Zhou said next to him. In the first group, 2 candidates were from our sports school. I recognize that, it seems to be Wu Yukai. At the start of school, he also said that he was a top student, but as soon as he got on the runway, he became the original. I was ashamed for him. These 2 months have passed, how is he now? Zhao Shouren asked. His grades are average, but he is hovering on the passing line. If he performs well, he has the chance to meet the standard. Another candidate in our school is similar to Wu Yukai. Whether he can meet the standard depends on some luck. Coach Zhou explained. Looking at luck? The first group to play, it can be said that the luck is already bad. The people in the first group can't play a good state, and it can already be thankful that these 2 students are probably unable to play well. Achieve the standard. Not only our students, it is estimated that the other 6 people are also difficult to achieve the standard. This first group appearance is really unlucky. Zhao Shouren said. At this time, only the commander shouted loudly, everyone, prepare. Candidates were ready to start at the same time. As the starting gun sounded, 8 people broke out of the starting line at the same time. At the same time, Li Dai also pressed the electronic timer in his hand. Episode 30, One Good Seedling. On the track of the 100-meter sprint, 8 candidates were running wildly, and halfway through the blink of an eye. Lu Tsongyan is ahead. Li Dai let out a sigh of relief. At this time, Lu Tsongyan was in the first position and had already achieved a clear leading advantage. Lu Tsongyan, come on. The voice sounded from behind Li Dai. That was the other 7 students under Li Dai's cheering for their classmates. The track, Lu Tsongyan's speed is significantly faster than others, it can be said to be far ahead. The performance line of the second-level athletes should be relatively stable. Li Dai showed a gratifying smile on his face, and his first 15,000 yuan could be kept. At the end, a staff member responsible for timing pressed the electronic timer, and the number above stayed at 11 seconds 32, which was Lu Tsongyan's achievement. The national second-level athlete standard is 11 seconds and 50 seconds by hand. Lu Tsongyan has successfully reached the standard. But after seeing this result, Li Dai still felt a little dissatisfied. On weekdays, Lu Tsongyan's test scores were all around 11 seconds 20. In this way, the appearance of the first group still affected Lu Tsongyan's state. In the first group, Lu Tsongyan is also the only candidate who has reached the second-class athlete standard. Others' results were all within 11 seconds and 70 seconds, and several others even ran for 12 seconds. As for Wu Yukai, he ran a score of 11 seconds and 89. Wu Youcai's result today is 11 seconds 89, which is still far from 11 seconds 50. If there is an explosive halo bonus, he may be able to meet the standard. 2 months of hard training, there are still 15,000 yuan. The training fees for money are so wasted. A little sympathy flashed in Li Dai's eyes. At the same time, Li Dai was also relieved. 2 months ago, Wu Youcai's performance was better than Lu Tsongyan, but now Wu Youcai's performance is so much worse than Lu Tsongyan, which shows that the training level of the sports school coach is really not as good as Li Dai's training level. The stands at the side gathered a large number of student parents, but they were not coaches who led the team. They were not allowed to enter the examination area. They could only watch in the high stands. Wu Youcai's parents also sat there. At this time, other parents looked at Wu Youcai's parents with sympathy. Everyone knows that Wu Yukai did not pass, and the results are very general, which is too far away from the national second-level athletes. The eyes cast around her made Wu Youcai's mother feel a little ashamed. She couldn't help but refute, luck is too bad. He was arranged in the first group. If it is behind, our family Wu Yukai can definitely live. Isn't there only one person in the entire first group? Wu Youcai's mother spoke while looking at Lu Tsongyan in the distance. Huh? A sigh sounded, it was Wu Youcai's father. What's wrong with you? Wu Youcai's mother asked. Wife, the person who passed was Coach Li's student. You see, he has returned to Coach Li. The young man wearing a t-shirt is Coach Li. Wu Yukai said. Coach Li? Which Coach Li? Wu Youcai's mothers did not think of Li Dai for a while. It was Coach Li who gave our son free trial training, and later he also called us specifically, didn't you let you refuse? Wu Yukai said. Wu Youcai's mother finally remembered Li Dai, and that time of 0.77 seconds. At that time, she quite despised Li Dai, and felt that her son was talented, and met a young rookie coach who can get so much improvement. If you go to the physical training school, the effect will definitely be better. However, the results of facts prove that Wu Yukai does not have such a high talent. Especially in today's exam, Li Dai's students also passed in the first group, but Wu Yukai failed, which obviously has proved that Li Dai's training is better than the sports school. How could this happen? Wu Youcai's mother finally regretted it. The training fee of 15,000 yuan and 2 months of hard training were completely destroyed by a wrong decision by Wu Youcai's mothers at that time. I didn't expect that some people in the first group of candidates actually met the standard, and the results were very good. I don't know which high school trained them. Zhao Shouren said. This candidate looks familiar, I think of it. He is from the second middle school in the city. He also signed up for our school's 100-meter sprint training class, but he did not report it at the start of the school. Coach Zhou said next to him. I signed up, but did not come to report. I saw it was taken away by another training class. Is it the physical education teacher of the second middle school? Zhao Shouren said. It should not be. Our 100-meter sprint training class, the students of the second middle school accounted for 1/3, did not hear that the second middle school also held training courses. Coach Zhou said while watching the landing strictly. I saw that Lu Tsongyan walked to the stand on the other side of the rostrum, meeting with Li Dai and others, and Coach Zhou recognized Li Dai at a glance. Huh? Isn't that person Xiao Li? It turned out that this student was brought by Xiao Li. Coach Zhou said. Although Zhao Shouren has seen Li Dai's ID photo, the difference between the ID photo and the real person has always been very large, and the distance between the two parties is relatively far, so Zhao Shouren did not recognize Li Dai at first glance, so he asked, do you know the coach opposite? It looks very young, his name is Li Dai. When we recruited assistant coaches in our school before, he also took the first test and was fired. I don't know what happened. Coach Zhou said. Li Dai. Zhao Shouren's eyes widened suddenly. He didn't expect to hear the name here. Li Dai, who was expelled himself, would appear here, and he also became a coach, and Li Dai's disciples were still there. The athlete took the lead in the test and became the first candidate to qualify as a second-level athlete. Li Dai's scenery was good. Zhao Shouren naturally felt unhappy, a hate poured out of Zhao Shouren's heart, but this hatred, even mixed with such a trace of weak uneasiness. The fourth group of exams, another student of Li Dai appeared. He performed better than Lu Tsongyan, and also successfully ran out of an achievement. In the subsequent sixth group, another of Li Dai's disciples also successfully met the standard. At this time, 3 of Li Dai's students had successfully met the standard. The seventh group of exams, it was Su Qingliang's turn. He has a C-level talent in the 100-meter sprint, which means that he can become a professional sprinter as long as he trains normally. Zhao Shouren's face has always been ugly, because as of the end of the sixth group of exams, Li Dai's students' compliance rate was 100%, compared with only 30% of sports school students' compliance rate. Go luck. The 3 people who played in front of them all met the standard. Zhao Shouren scolded inwardly, and then he saw Su Qingliang preparing to play. This must not be up to standard. Zhao Shouren constantly painted circles to curse Li Dai. The next coach Zhou obviously didn't pay attention to Zhao Shouren's mood, only listened to him and said, Lu Chuang in our training class is divided into the 7th group. This Lu Chuang is the top among this group of students. We ourselves during the test, he once ran within 11 seconds 6 times. In less than 11 seconds, that's very good. If Lu Chuang can still run in less than 11 seconds this time, maybe he will be selected by Coach Chen Yuejin, and the autonomous enrollment quota of the provincial sports university will be available. Zhao Shouren, his mind suddenly became active, and he has even begun to look forward to a better life as a vice principal in the future. 100 meters dash project, Yu reading www. After yuyukansha.com became a second-level athlete, if you want to continue to improve your performance, it is not enough to accumulate time alone. At this time, talent is more needed. At this time, every 0.1 second increase is a huge victory. The 11-second mark is even more of a peak for athletes. Many talented athletes will find it difficult to run within 11 seconds in their lifetime. So for athletes, if they can run into 11 seconds, it basically represents a talent worth cultivating by professional coaches. In the middle of the rostrum, a bald man with more than 50 vegetarians sat in the middle. This man was the examiner of the athlete test and Coach Chen Yuejin of the provincial sports university. At this time, Coach Chen Yuejin looked a little bored, and looked like he was sad. As the examiner, of course, he doesn't have to go down to the field in person. He just has to stay on the podium to control the overall situation. However, this is a pain for Chen Yuejin. He feels afraid if he continues to sit down. The bones are rusty. More importantly, after several sets of tests, Chen Yuejin did not find a decent good seedling. It was like Michelangelo squeezing a large clay pottery bowl. It looked extremely boring, but there was nothing else to see. I will definitely not come to the proctor next year. Jean secretly said. He stared blankly at the runway, and his eyelids gradually dropped. The gunshot of the order sounded, and the athlete started to run, but Jean's eyelids suddenly raised. Huh? Jean's expression seemed to be a grain of gold in a pile of sand, and he stood up involuntarily. This candidate is good, finally met a good seedling. Jean finally smiled on his face.